Before you can be a real father, you have to be a real man. Now, I was confronted with this issue since I was a small boy, because I lived in two worlds. I had the sport world, I was a rugby player, and so according to the contemporary understanding of manhood, everyone said to me, but these are real men doing sport. But I saw the weakest, spineless people in this sphere of sport, because I would discover people that have certain convictions and that would align to certain principles, but as soon as they get into a social environment, they forget everything about this and they become the most permissive people that you can imagine to have. On the other hand, I grew up in the church world, and there I read about people in the Bible that could really stand by their convictions. I love the people like Gideon, for instance, and Joseph, and all those people that could really stand by their convictions in challenging times. So very important for a father to ask himself, what is a real man, before he can become a real father, and also train his son to become a real father. I remember when my son was 6 years old, I said to him, George, if you want to become a real man one day, watch me, I'll show you. I did not think of what I was about to say to him when I did that. But as I turned away from having this quick conversation with him, I had a responsibility on my shoulders that I carry up to today. So who is a real man? We have a conventional understanding of that, which equates, for instance, the identity of the man with his position, and the value of a person with what he earns. And the goal of a person is to have success, and he is rewarded by power in the marketplace. And then people think that this is a real man. If he has the position, the power, the success, then he has ticked all the boxes, and then he's a real man. Now that I'm a father and I have to train my son who is a real man, I had to think and dig very deep to understand who a real man is. And maybe you can come up with 4 or 5 qualities of a real man. Here are 4 of the qualities that I came up with, and we can add obviously many more. The first quality of a real man is, he is one who is courageously standing by his own convictions. It was marvelous to see how Daniel in the Bible just stand by his convictions despite the fact that the world is changing from government to government, standing by clear convictions to such an extent that everyone ultimately sees him as the pillar that they had to go to for finding real wisdom in life. And therefore, if you believe that pornography is wrong, you stand by your conviction. If you believe that racism is wrong, you demonstrate this to your children. If you believe that if we only care for ourselves, egotistically is wrong, you demonstrate this by serving others and get your children involved in that. Standing by your conviction is a very important aspect or characteristic of a real man. Second characteristic of a real man is, a real man lifts the bar from the mediocre to the level of nobility. I have been trying to teach my children since they were very small that we will never think like other people think. We will never be average. We cannot think like other people. We will not speak like other people. We will not live like other people, because we are reborn. Reborn to what? Reborn to understanding of how to live heavenly principles on earth. We have to colonize earth with heaven. And if you have to colonize earth with heaven, you've got to think on the level of heaven, the level of nobility. And therefore, if every conversation is just filled with one-dimensional talk of sport and money and weather and things like this, and you never rise above this, from the mediocre to greatness, by expressing what you really believe in, what would change this earth to become a better place, I doubt if you're a real man. I think God has given us the instruction to have dominion over this earth, to have responsibility in this world, and for that we have to rise the level of the thinking of people in general in society. The third characteristic of a real man is he takes up responsibility and he executes this with intentionality. G.K. Chesterton once wrote back to a question that was posed by a journalist in a newspaper. And the journalist asked the following and said, please, what is the problem of the world today? Please write in and answer this question. G.K. Chesterton wrote a very short letter in which he said, Sir, on your question, what is the problem with the world today? I am yours truly, G.K. Chesterton. You see, he did not point fingers to anyone else because he took up the responsibility of this world. So if I look at a township, if I look at the city, I say the problem of the township and the problem of the city and the problem of the community and the problem of my neighbor's house is my problem. I want to take up responsibility for it. And I want to invest something in this world that will change my neighborhood and my city and ultimately maybe my country. A real man is one that takes up the responsibility and with sincere intentionality addresses that responsibility. The fourth thing that I would say as a qualification of a real man is he rejects passivity with energetic initiation and implementation. The old fathers of faith had a saying that every single day of the week poses another challenge to you and therefore evokes a new sin in your life. For instance, on a Friday or a Saturday, maybe lust will be evoked in your life. They said that on a Sunday it is pride that will be evoked, that you think you are better than other people and so on. And they ascribe the Wednesday sin as the sin of inertia, of being apathetic. Actually, they had a nice description of it. It's walking with the devil's feet. Sloth. That was the problem. Sloth. Inertia, apathetic life orientation. And therefore real men step up to the plate. Real men say, I will not continue to just let bygones be bygones or let the world be as it is. I will step into the situation and the challenge of my time with energy and implementation. My problem with the implementation thing is every person dreams a great dream. But how many have implemented it? And how full are the graveyards of people that never wrote the poems they intended to write, never sang the songs they intended to sing. And then the world stays the same because they haven't taken their dreams and transformed this into reality by implementing the dreams. Real men are seriously, actively implementing their dreams. These kinds of things I like to teach my son. Because I want my son to be the real man that God intended him to be. A man who will leave this earth with clear fingerprints. I've been here by intention and I have achieved my intended purposes on this world.